Hello everybody. So I didn't really do an intro video and I apologize for that. I'm Annie and I am a potter and I'm working on becoming an author as well. I'm working on my debut novel called Eyes of Pewter and I plan on it releasing this summer. I've done a kiln load which glazed kiln load didn't go very well. And sometimes that happens though, like sometimes the glazes just decide that they don't want to cooperate with you. And I find that happens in my smaller kiln more than my bigger kiln, which is weird. Especially with that pink glaze, but that's what it is. And so I don't have as many pieces as I wanted to launch with, but I do plan on doing like a little website launch with the pieces, you know, either at the end of this week or probably next week, so that way I can kind of promote it on my Instagram and stuff a little bit more. And then I will also be doing an announcement that I'm pushing back my Wizard of Oz collection. I just had some stuff come up in March, and well, I mean, honestly, there's been stuff coming up January, February, March. Like, this year has like really been hard to manage personal life and two different passion projects and stuff, like, you know, with the book and trying to get that published and running my pottery business. And I'm just, the balance has just not been balancing. And so, yeah, I'm gonna have to push it back. I'm probably gonna push it back to like, honestly, like the end of April is probably when the collection is going to launch, which is a lot later than I wanted to do it, but I kind of just have to work with what I have available and what time I can do it. But like I said, I will have some pieces and stuff that I'm listing like this next week. It's just not like a collection and a big hurrah and based off of a book and all the things I normally do. It's not that. It's just kind of regular glazed pieces. And I'm still working on edits. I really need to get these edits done by the end of the month, and I have just been struggling to get them done. I am on chapter 9 and I have like 30 chapters. So that is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of today, is really just pushing to get those chapters done, as many chapters as I can get done today. A little bit this week, all of next week, and then I kind of just have to format it for my editor because she wants it a particular way, so I need to spend the other 2 days just formatting it properly so that she can go through and edit it. She's going to be having those edits for about 6 weeks, which kind of takes that off my plate, so I could just take a break from doing the Eyes of Pewter debut novel. You focus on some of my other things like the pottery and getting the pottery done, plotting for the next book, just getting some more things done. Like, I really want to push to get more of my serial for my Patreon things, because I have 2 short serial episodic stories, 3 actually now. I have 3 episodic stories that I'm writing for my patrons, and one of them is just kind of a whenever I feel like it. The other 2 I'm doing monthly, and so I would really like to get ahead of those if I can in April, so then, like, you know, when it comes back around and I'm needing to like do proofs and cover art and all that stuff for the debut novel, I have that time. And also the summer is really, really busy for me for pottery, like lots of shows, lots of things like that, lots of making. And so I kind of have to keep that in mind as well. So hopefully we can get that to the editor. I'll have a little bit of time, can do a ton of writing in April and a ton of pottery. Well, maybe less pottery, but ton of writing in April at least, to try to get myself ahead is kind of the plan, I guess. Yeah, the rest of the time is just going to be me trying to get the edits done before the end of the month. Yeah, life is just lifing, and yeah, that's where we're at. Hey everybody, so it has been a bit since I've done an update. Yeah, I'm actually like wearing makeup and all that. Not usual for me, but I dressed up as my alter ego, I guess you could say. On my Instagram, like my author page, I'm doing like live readings of some of my work, and I dress up as a character and read it, and people really enjoy it and they love the story that I'm reading. So I did a bunch of like little clips and videos and stuff like that of that. Whew, and I'm a little worn out because I also decided to like take some pictures and do some videos and stuff for like social media. So I was like, while I'm all dressed up, might as well, right? But anyways, so yeah, it's been a bit. It's been a bit since I recorded. It's been a bit since I posted a video. I apologize for that. I've been like, I have done some recording here and there. I just haven't really been able to edit anything, and I don't know, it's like trying to find the balance, right, between doing all the writing and stuff and also the pottery, and just like trying to figure out how to work those two. And I was kind of getting to the point where I felt like I was getting a better handle on doing both and balancing both, and then my personal life kind of threw a wrench into everything. So some of it is just like me trying to work through that, you know, and then on top of that do the pottery and the writing. And so but I did want to give an update today, besides, you know, me getting all dolled up and might as well record, right, because I'm wearing makeup. But besides that, because you won't normally see me probably wearing makeup in my videos, maybe, I don't know, it depends on if I feel like it or not that day. But anyways, I decided to come on and do video and stuff is because I wanted to give you an update on my writing. So I do a little bit of writing on my Patreon. I have like episodes I release and stuff like that, and that's kind of what I got all dressed up for, was like my serial episodic stories. But I am also writing a novel, and that actually I went through and I edited it like 4 or 5 times, had beta readers look at it, edited it like 2 more times, and now I've sent it off to my editor, and my editor is going to be doing like line by line edits, so a lot of grammar, awkward sentences, things like that. They're going to help me go through it and kind of fix that kind of stuff. I also like find my crunch words, like words I use too often, and all kinds of things like that, like just help it be more official, easier to read, you know, so people aren't getting taken out of it because the flow's messed up, kind of thing. So that's what she's going to be doing. She's going to be doing my edits, going through the whole manuscript. So I won't have the manuscript in my hands for about 6 weeks, which I'm glad. Actually, I need a break from that story. Not that I don't love it, but I've just been doing edits for months and months and months and months that I feel like I do kind of need a break from it. And that also lets me do this new challenge that I've heard of. There's the rough draft challenge I've been doing, but I've found out about this new challenge called Zap Wham Pow, and I'm actually going to be doing that one because I feel like with my pottery as also part of my business, and then trying to go into the writing, I need something that's a little bit slower pace. Not that I'm not like gonna, I mean, I do write fast, right? But I just need to be able to take those breaks if I need them because of the pottery. Like, that's the problem I've been running into with doing the balance of this. These two businesses being like a multi-passionate creative and running 2 of my creative passions as a business is the balance, and trying to find time for both, right? And so a lot of times I've found if I'm doing the writing, then the pottery's neglected. If I'm doing the pottery, then the writing's neglected. And I do know that some of that's just going to happen. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. Like, if the pottery needs to get done and there's no other choice, or it won't, you know, get through the next process, then I'm gonna have to put everything down to finish that, right? But I do also want to do something that has a little bit less pressure, right? And the Rough Draft Challenge is great because you can kind of set your own goals. You don't have to do the 50,000. So it is really cool in that respect, and better than Nana was for me. But I do need it to be just a little bit more chill than even that. So like with the Zap Wham Pow, like there is like doing a 50,000 word thing, but you spend basically April doing plotting and planning and kind of taking the time, so that when you get to May, so you got the zap, it's kind of the planning, then the wham is when you're trying to write, right? And so that like when you get there, you have all the tools, you have everything you need, so you can do a lot of writing without it necessarily affecting a ton of things. And it also does set it up too a little bit like Rough Draft Challenge, where you can decide to do poetry, or you can do a novella, or you can do the 50,000 words if you want to. So it kind of makes it a little easier for me too, because it's not like I feel like I have to get that 50,000 words. And both are great challenges. Like, I'm not docking on either one of them. I've done the Rough Draft Challenge and have liked it. I used it to edit through my draft of the book that I'm working on currently. But the Zap Wham Pow, I just want to try it just to see if it's just a little bit more low-key, if it's a little bit slower. So that way when my pottery decides to demand my attention, I don't feel as guilty about the writing not happening, And I do want to get to the point where I am releasing like a book a year if I can. Not that I'm going to hold myself to that, but that's kind of the goal, is to be able to release a book a year. We'll see. I've kind of noticed that people who do the writing and stuff, the first book is always kind of the hardest and takes the longest, because a lot of the process is you learning about how to do the process and learning how you do the process, and all of that on top of actually doing your draft and stuff, which is a lot, right? And it takes longer to do that because of that. And so my hope too is like with doing like the second and the third book and stuff in this trilogy that I'm writing, that I know a little bit better my process. I know a little bit better how to do the self-publishing. I'm not going to be doing as much of the learning along with the writing, So yeah, that's kind of what I'm kind of hoping for. We'll see if it works out that way. Like I said, sometimes like I find a good balance, and then real life is like, psych, you've got all this stuff you have to deal with now. So that's kind of where we're at. Is I've said goodbye to Eyes of Pewter. It is off to the editor. I cannot look at it I'm making myself not look at it for another 6 weeks. I'm taking a break from it. And so the Zap Wham Pows or Rough Draft Challenge or whatever it is I decide to do, I'm going to be writing the second book, but I'm also going to be kind of working on my serials for my Patreon. And so I'm not really going to stress about how many words I'm getting or not getting in each of the different, things. I have noticed that like with my Patreon and doing the serials, I'm having a hard time keeping up with it and doing the manuscript. So I'm kind of hoping that I can get maybe a little bit ahead with my serials, so that way when I'm getting back into the slog of dealing with the manuscript and publishing and all that, that I have a little bit of a backlog is kind of the plan that I'm trying to hope for. And starting book 2 as well, but I'm not really pushing that. Like, there's a couple of scenes I really want to write, but besides that, I'm not, like, and I'll do planning, right, and I'll do things like that, but I'm not really going to be pushing to get, the draft of book 2 done really fast. And yeah, so that's kind of the plan. That's what we got going on. And yeah, and then I've been doing lots of pottery too. I have a show that's coming up at the end of April. It's called The Enchanted Market. So that's awesome because it kind of fits my vibe, right? For those of you new here, I do a lot of fantasy, fairy tale, things like that. Those kinds of books and stuff inspire my pottery. And then of course I write fantasy and stuff as well. So, so it kind of seemed like a good fit, this market. So that's kind of where we're at. That's what we're doing. I've done most of my work today, doing the dressing up, doing this whole social media thing.